we know the Quran makes certain tests that you can apply to it, and if it fails on that test, then you'd say it cannot be from God. To give you some of those examples, one of the examples, Quran says this is such a book that no one can make even a single chapter like it. Chapter like it. No one can make a surah like it.
Where does it say?
A chapter. There are 112 surah or chapters in the Quran. The one I showed you earlier was one surah with 3 ayat, about 3 lines.
There is no Quran.
No one can make something like it in a linguistic stylistics, in the language of Arabic. Because the composition is such that it is impossible to imitate its style. Every other human creation, like if you write poetries or music, someone else can imitate. But the Quran is such that it is demonstrated objectively that you cannot imitate it. The Arabs at that time were the best poets at their time. They failed. In subsequent times in history, even today, people are failing to imitate anything like this Quran in any chapter, let alone the whole book. Of course, they are trying and failing. Why is the question? The Quran says it's from God and you can't imitate it. The Quran also offers another falsification test. It says, look, if this book was any other than God, you would find in it many contradictions and discrepancies, inconsistencies and errors. Make sense? If a book claims to be from God, you would expect it to make some mistakes of history, some mistakes of the future, which is not yet, and he talks about it. You would expect it to make some mistakes of science, isn't it? That's what the Quran is saying. If it's not from God, you would surely, certainly find mistakes and errors within it. People are trying. They can't find a mistake, an error, inconsistency or a contradiction in the Quran. If they did, and no Muslims were able to demonstrate otherwise, they have all the right and justification to say the Quran is not from God. Because the Quran makes that own argument. So,
There is no Quran.
so that's what I'm saying. This is a proof that the Quran offers falsification tests.
Ask the Quran.
That if this was the case, you should be able to falsify it. The fact, falsify, you can disprove it.
So Allah gave multiple tests to show it's true or not.
Exactly. Exactly the point. Because people can claim, anyone can claim, he can come with a book and say, God has written it to me, give all your money and your phone and your wallet. Anyone can claim. So you have to somehow test it. The way you test it is, what does it say about God? What does it say about this world? Does it make an error? Does it make contradictions and mistakes and so on? When you find that the Quran is free from all of that, you will have to submit intellectually, rationally and say, I accept this book is from God. So this is what we are asking. You've got two friends, Hussein and Yassin, who can help you further if you need to clarify any questions that you have. But so far, if you've heard, if I told you this is the case, would you even doubt that this Quran is from God? So you should have no reason not to accept it. Your heart should be open to accept and say, yes, I am ready to accept Islam. I'm ready to become a Muslim.
But it's hard for non-believers. But like most people grow up with Quran, so it's like normal for them. But for person who comes from a non-believer family, it's weird. It's weird to believe in like an upper person, even knowing like the Quran is the one and true and only, like with truth and without testing. It's hard.
It's hard, but we need to accept the truth when we find it. That's what I'm asking. It's accepting, knowing the truth and accepting it. So if you lost your mother, for example, no, I don't want to bullseye on that one. If you lost your mother, and then you discovered her, and you have proven to her that's your mother, you're not going to wait and say, let me see what she does, how she cooks, and
minutes.
You're going to accept her with open arms. You're my mother. When you recognize the truth, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is the prophet and messenger. The Quran is a book from God. You embrace this truth.
Only 3 minutes.
And the reward for him, people like him, who look for, who search, and then convert, it will be more than my son, who was born with religion.
And I will
The
show you
reward
the
for you
lie.
will be better.
Oh, Mansour.
Because you are being critically thinking, searching,
Not by born.
and concluding with conviction. So your faith will be firm, solid, and grounded. No individual like him shouting at the back will shake it.
Possessed by
Yeah, thank you. We will continue right now, but thank you for
All the best.
listening.
Take care.
Yes.
Do you have anything in his language?
I already have this one.
Okay.
Give to somebody else. You
I
start
will.
Dawa from today.
It's all right. So it's a pleasure speaking to you, boy.
Yeah,
Okay. I wish that you continue this search because we don't know when we're going to die. You and I can die the next minute.
Mansour.
What is important for our fulfilling the purpose of life, God says, there's few things we have to do. Not only acknowledge the truth, but also declare it with our tongue. Make a testimony and start
Search more.
manifest. No. Believing the heart, declaration of the tongue, and doing the actions with our limbs. In that case, then we are in the eyes of God a believer. Until we do that, we're like a searcher. God wants us to be a believer and die on the state of a believer. So I want you to really take your time without doing like, oh, let me leave it for another year or when I'm older, because you don't know when you're going to die. Before death comes to us, which you have no guarantee when, you need to submit and surrender to this God by making that declaration and submitting with your limbs. That is so important because even Satan knows the Creator, but he doesn't submit. That's why he would not have fulfilled his purpose in this life. You and I don't only have to believe in our heart, it is not sufficient. Declaration of the tongue is important. We become a Muslim, people know, and then within the faith community, we start practicing with our limbs, demonstrating that I am submitting to your God. Imagine you work for a company, and you go to your work, and you sit there, do nothing. You say, yeah, I know you're my boss. I'm going to sit there. I'm going to play on my phone. No, you have to show the actions to get the reward at the end of the day. God says you have to believe, declare, and do the actions if you really want to be saved from the hellfire. He doesn't want anything more. He says it's so easy, and He will guide you constantly. If you take one step to God, God will take 10 steps to guide you. If you come to God one hand span, God will come to you an arm span. If you go toward walking, He will come to you running. A metaphorical way telling you, once you're sincere and you're seeking, God will guide you even more clearly and so on. So I encourage you to take that step. If you come back again, I want to see you as a Muslim, inshallah. Take care.
We are born as a Muslim, but at some time we have to question our belief. So our belief is not a blind place. We ask and search.
Quran does not exist.
When we are young, we have searched and found that
I have
that
brought
is
it
the most
here.
reliable
What
religion
is
that
brought?
we can understand
What is-
and believe.
All the things you have.
It's
Awareness.
easier to like when you're
Show
born
me
with it,
that
but
Quran.
I get it. Like
the Islamic
you come to an age
awareness
when
Show
you
me
need
that Quran.
you need to find
Liar!
yeah, you need to
Yeah,
you need to
exactly.
research
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
I get it.
The universe will have the same moment.
Because they are Muslims.
Thank you.
Take care, okay? Assalamu alaikum, brother. All the best. Peace, peace.
Is
You
this from your side?
have to act as an
Is
ambassador of
this from
Islam.
your side?
In your life, in your
Is
actions.
this from your
If he
side?
sees you acting
this
in a
from your
way
side?
that doesn't appeal to him to be a Muslim, he's not going to
He's
become
been fasting for the last 5 years after Ramadan.
all the best. I am not doubting, but I'm saying it's important to remember this.
Psychological thing, it's something else.
You will be okay, inshallah.
Leave him. If you cannot
Defend the Quran. Is this from your side? Mansour. I'll take that. Is this from Islamic awareness side? No. There is no Quran. No Quran. No Bible. No Quran. Islamic awareness side knows